Neville Goddard speaker, calm, authoritative, yet deeply empathetic tone, direct eye contact with the camera. I spent years trying to manifest with intricate methods, failing constantly, until my teacher Abdullah revealed the one, single, simple thing I was missing. And it's why your current efforts are producing nothing but frustration. If you're the man who diligently visualizes every morning, reads every book, tries every technique, only to look at your life weeks or months later and see the same empty space where your desire should be, feeling that bitter taste of disappointment, silently wondering if you're doing it wrong or if this law is just a cruel joke for everyone but you. By the end of this session, you will grasp the singular principle that unlocks all manifestation, the one thing I discovered through the harshest lessons, and 37 of my students have reported their first undeniable breakthrough within 14 days of applying this simple shift. But most will dismiss this as too simple, too subtle, and they'll continue their endless cycle of effort without results. In the next 8 minutes, I'll reveal why your current methods are designed to fail, the exact feeling you must embody, and the 3 subtle shifts you can make tonight to activate this power immediately. Leave now and you'll return to the same frustrating, barren efforts. I have taught this for decades, yet it is still the most misunderstood truth. You see, the world, your reality, is but the solidified image of your own internal states. It is a mirror reflecting not what you wish for, but what you feel you already possess. More effort or longer visualization sessions do not create better results. They often reinforce lack. You pour hours into seeing your desire, but if the underlying feeling is still one of wanting, needing, or striving, you are simply reaffirming the absence of your desire. This is the crucial disconnect that has plagued so many of you. You are working against yourselves, not because you lack the discipline, but because you lack the correct understanding of the mechanism. Story proof stack. Let me take you back to my own journey, a time of profound struggle. I wanted to leave New York and return to my home in Barbados, but I had no money, no means, only a deep desire. I spoke to Abdullah, my teacher, a man whose wisdom was piercing. He simply said to me, "You are in Barbados." I argued, "No, Abdullah, I am here in New York." He didn't waver. He commanded me to sleep as if I were already in Barbados. To feel the warm breeze, smell the salt air, hear the distant sounds of home. He didn't ask me to visualize a plane ticket. He asked me to feel the reality of being there. I was skeptical, even angry. How could I feel something that wasn't true? But I obeyed. Every night, I would lie in my bed in New York, close my eyes, and for just a few moments, feel myself on my bed in Barbados. The texture of the sheets, the window open to the sea, the relief of being home. It wasn't a mental image I was forcing. It was an internal state I was cultivating. Within weeks, an unexpected opportunity arose, funds appeared, and I found myself on a ship bound for Barbados. Subconscious programming. The human mind, your consciousness, functions on feeling. It is not logic. It is a servant to the emotions. Your subconscious does not distinguish between a vividly felt experience in imagination and a physically experienced event. To it, a felt reality is the reality. When you impress upon it the feeling of your wish fulfilled, the joy, the relief, the security, the abundance of having it now, you are instructing it with the only language it understands. It then must externalize that state. This is not magic, it is law. Contrast trap. Most men continue to push against reality, seeing their current circumstances as immovable obstacles. They battle the external world with logic and brute effort, asking, "How can I get it?" or "What do I need to do?" This constant jiggly only perpetuates the very lack they are trying to escape. They are like a man trying to change his reflection by scrubbing the mirror. The man who truly understands, however, asks himself, "What would it feel like if I already had it?" He then assumes that feeling, knowing that feeling is the command. Many confuse visualization with assumption. They are not the same. Visualization is a tool, a means to an end. Assumption is the end itself. It is the deep, settled conviction, the inner knowing that your desire is already a present fact. Let me ask you, can you truly visualize something you believe is impossible and feel it as real? You cannot. Your underlying belief, your assumption, will always color your visualization. If you visualize a fortune but assume you're unworthy, the visualization is barren. Story-proof stack. Consider the words of Emmett Fox, who preached the power of the spoken word. But it was never just the word itself. It was the power behind the word, the assumption that what you declared was undeniably true. He taught that words are things. This meant that when you declared, "I am healthy," it was not merely an affirmation. It was an assumption of that state, a conviction that made the word manifest. I saw many people repeat affirmations like parrots and nothing would change. Why? Because the assumption beneath was, "I am trying to be healthy," not "I am healthy." The command to consciousness wasn't the image or the word, but the deep, quiet knowing. This is where many falter, and it's why a simple feeling is 1000x more powerful than complex rituals and visualizations. A feeling bypasses the analytical mind. An assumption is the feeling. I will show you what Abdullah did to force me to finally understand this one thing after years of failure, and it wasn't about more complex visualizations. Subconscious programming. Your subconscious mind is a fertile garden. Every thought, every feeling, every assumption you plant, it will nurture and bring to fruition. It does not rationalize or question, it simply produces. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are planting a seed that is already grown in your inner world. The subconscious receives this as an accomplished fact, and its entire mechanism, its unseen forces, begin to arrange the external world to match your internal decree. This is an undeniable, unwavering law. Contrast trap. Most men approach manifestation like a scientific experiment, meticulously trying to do the steps, check the boxes, and perfect their technique. They are consumed with the how and the when, constantly searching for the perfect visualization script or the right angle of light. The man who manifests consistently, however, understands that the command is not in the doing, but in the being. He shifts his assumption from "I want" to "I have," from "I will be" to "I am," and then allows the how to unfold. One declaration affirmation. Hear me now. Say this with me and feel the truth of it in your bones. I am the embodiment of my desires, here and now. Repeat daily until it becomes your natural breath. You possess incredible intellectual capacity. You can analyze, strategize, and dissect, but manifestation is not an intellectual exercise. It is a creative act born of feeling. Listen to me. You cannot manifest by trying to make something happen. You must assume it is already done. Trying implies effort, and effort implies lack. It is a subtle but absolutely critical distinction. Story-proof stack. My dear friend Joseph Murphy, a profound teacher of the law, often recounted stories of people who were intellectually brilliant, who could quote every scripture and every metaphysical text, yet their lives remained stagnant. Why? Because they understood the theory but failed to integrate the feeling. They could speak eloquently of the power within, but they never truly felt the power. I remember one particular student who could perfectly describe the process of visualization and affirmation. He lectured to others, meticulously outlining the steps, yet he remained in a state of constant financial struggle. He knew the law, but he never felt the abundance. His intellectual understanding was a barrier, not a bridge, because he never permitted himself to fully inhabit the feeling of wealth. When I guided him to stop thinking about money and start feeling the security, the freedom, the ease of having it, his world began to transform with astonishing speed. Many of you are in this very position. You have accumulated immense knowledge. You've read my books. You've listened to countless lectures, perhaps even mine. You understand the mechanics of it all. But still, that nagging doubt persists, that empty feeling in your stomach when you check your unchanged bank account, that quiet despair that makes you wonder if you're fundamentally broken, if this power is for everyone else but you. This is the catastrophic outcome of intellectual effort without emotional embodiment. You are caught in a mental loop, perpetually planning for a future that never arrives because your feeling state is always one of anticipation, never possession. But there is a way out. The path is not through more study, but through a simple yet profound internal shift in your emotional state. It's about dropping the burden of trying and embracing the lightness of having. Subconscious programming. The The subconscious mind responds to the charge of an emotion, not the complexity of a thought. An intellectual understanding of a concept carries very little emotional charge. It is neutral. But the feeling of joy, relief, certainty, or excitement, these are potent signals that awaken the subconscious and compel it to action. This is why mere affirmations, repeated without feeling, are like dry seeds on barren ground. They hold no power. Only when impregnated with the living, vibrant feeling of their truth do they quicken into manifestation. Contrast trap. Most men measure their progress by the amount of information they consume or the number of techniques they try. They believe that if they just learn one more thing, they will finally crack the code. The man who truly manifests, however, measures his progress by the quality of his inner feeling. He knows that a single moment of truly inhabiting the state of the wish fulfilled is infinitely more potent than 1,000 hours of intellectual pursuit. This is where the rubber meets the road. When your desired state feels natural to you, like wearing a comfortable old coat, that is the undeniable proof that you have accepted it into your being. It is no longer something you are striving for. It is simply who you are and what you have. In the next 3 minutes, I'll reveal the exact mental trigger that instantly shifts you into this state of naturalness, and it's simpler than you could ever imagine. Story proof stack. My mentor Abdullah once gave me a most profound lesson on this very principle. I was struggling with a particular desire, constantly pushing and forcing, trying to make it happen. He watched me for a while, then simply stated, "Neville, when you want to truly manifest something, you must reach the point where you would no more question its arrival than you would question the rising of the sun." He then asked, "Do you question that the sun will rise tomorrow?" I replied, "Of course not, it's natural." He smiled. "Then your desire must feel just as natural. Anything less is still doubt." I reflected on Florence Scovel Shinn's teachings, where she emphasized the game of life is a game of boomerangs. What you send out, you get back. But it's not just thoughts, it's the feeling of certainty. If you throw out the boomerang of natural acceptance, that is precisely what returns to you. I learned from Abdullah to constantly test this. If I felt any resistance, any doubt, any lack of naturalness concerning my desire, I knew I hadn't truly assumed the state. I would then turn to the silence, to the feeling, until it settled into an undeniable, comfortable truth within me. Subconscious programming. Your subconscious mind reflects your deepest convictions. If you feel uneasy, anxious, or uncertain about your desire, that is the exact state it will manifest. But if your desire feels utterly normal, absolutely natural, like a fundamental truth of your existence, then the subconscious has no choice but to conform the external world to that inner pattern. It is the path of least resistance for the universe to arrange itself to match your natural assumption. It ceases to be an effort and becomes an organic unfolding. Contrast trap. Most men pursue their desires with a sense of urgency, striving, and effort. They cling to the idea that the harder they work, the more they will achieve. This very effort implies that the desired state is not natural, that it is difficult to obtain. The man who achieves mastery, however, seeks the feeling of naturalness. He knows that when his desire feels as normal as breathing, the outer world will effortlessly fall into alignment. He seeks ease, not struggle. 2. Process affirmation. Say this with me and embody its truth. My inner feeling of naturalness creates my outer reality with effortless grace. Repeat this whenever you feel doubt creeping in. Many believe there is some hidden technique, a secret formula, a specific ritual that only a few possess. This is a grand illusion. The true secret is not in what you do, but in who you are being. It is an internal shift, a change of identity, a transformation of your state of consciousness. If you are constantly seeking the next trick, the newest method, you are reinforcing the idea that you are currently lacking something vital. This pursuit itself becomes an endless treadmill, leading to exhaustion, frustration, and the bitter conclusion that you are simply not lucky enough, or perhaps not worthy enough. This is the insidious trap that keeps millions from their desires, but there is a simple, profound liberation awaiting you. It is the realization that the power is not outside of you, nor is it contained in a set of instructions. It is in your very capacity to be the person who already has what you desire. Story proof stack. I recall a time when I was giving lectures in Los Angeles and a gentleman approached me, deeply disheartened. He had tried everything: elaborate vision boards, daily affirmations for hours, complex meditations. Yet his life remained unchanged. He felt a profound sense of failure. I listened patiently, and then I simply asked him, "Who are you being when you do these techniques?" He looked confused. I elaborated, "Are you being the man who hopes for wealth, or the man who is wealthy? Are you being the man who desires love, or the man who is loved?" He admitted, "I am being the man who wants it badly." I told him about Thomas Troward, who taught that thought precedes manifestation. But it was not just thought. It was the state from which that thought emanated. It was the I am that was the creative power. I instructed this man to cease all his frantic doing and instead to simply feel himself as the man who was already successful, already loved. Not to visualize himself getting it, but to feel himself being it. To imagine how he would walk, how he would speak, how he would feel internally if his desires were already a fact. Within weeks, he returned, beaming. Opportunities had presented themselves, relationships had shifted. He hadn't changed his actions as much as he had changed his state of being. External conditions have zero power over your manifestation once the internal state is truly achieved. The secret isn't to force the external, it's to master the internal. Subconscious programming. Your subconscious mind records and projects your dominant state of being. If you consistently identify as the one who lacks, the one who struggles, or the one who is trying, that is the identity it will externalize. But when you make an internal shift, when you choose to be the one who is abundant, healthy, and loved, then the subconscious begins to rearrange your world to reflect this new identity. It is a fundamental reprogramming from the inside out. Contrast trap. Most men continually search for external validation or external signs before they permit themselves to feel successful. They believe that if they see the money, then they will feel rich. The truly successful man understands this is backwards. He first feels rich, he is rich in consciousness, and then the money appears. He shifts his being, and his world shifts in consequence. 3. Command affirmation. Affirm aloud now, with all your conviction, "I command my consciousness to be the embodiment of my highest desire." Use this to assert your new identity. Additional point optional. To hit word count depth, the power of manifestation is not delayed. It is immediate. The moment you truly embody the feeling of the wish fulfilled, that seed is planted and the invisible forces begin to work. Any perceived delay is merely the time it takes for your external world to catch up to your internal decree. It is not a waiting game. It is an unfolding. What if I told you that you are not waiting for your desire, but your desire is waiting for you to fully occupy its state? What if the delay is not a judgment from the universe, but simply your own persistent occupation of the old, unwanted state? Story proof stack. My own journey was filled with these delays, until Abdullah's unwavering conviction penetrated my skepticism. I would tell him, "Abdullah, I've done what you said, but nothing has happened yet." He would look at me with his piercing gaze and simply declare, "You are still counting the minutes in New York, Neville. Stop counting. You are in Barbados." He understood that the very act of waiting or expecting something in the future was a denial of the present fact of the wish fulfilled. I studied the works of scholars like Thomas Troward, who emphasized the instantaneous nature of the creative principle. He wrote that thought creates corresponding external conditions, but this creation happens at the level of consciousness immediately. The physical manifestation is merely the evidence. This taught me that the moment I felt my desire as done, it was done in the only realm that truly mattered, the realm of causation. The outer world then had to catch up, like a shadow following the body. This understanding is the exact mental trigger that instantly shifts you into the state of the wish fulfilled. It's the realization that you are not making it happen in the future, but it already is in the eternal now, within your consciousness. Subconscious programming. The subconscious mind exists in the eternal now. It has no concept of past or future, only the present moment. Therefore, when you impress upon it the feeling of the wish fulfilled now, it accepts it as an immediate reality. Any thought of it will happen immediately shifts the subconscious back to a state of wanting, which means it will continue to project want. The power lies in the conscious decision to feel it as done now. Contrast trap. Most men operate under the illusion of linear time when it comes to manifestation. They believe they must endure a period of waiting, that their desire will arrive tomorrow or next month. This waiting itself is a state of lack. The master of manifestation knows that the moment of conception, the assumption of the wish fulfilled, is the same moment of creation in the invisible realm. He then lives from that fulfilled state, allowing the physical world to perfectly reflect his internal, immediate reality. Now you have heard the truth, the singular principle that changes everything. But understanding is not enough. Application is all. Here's exactly how you can implement this tonight to begin your journey to consistent, undeniable manifestation. 1. Identify wonder. Sire, choose a single specific desire. Start small if you must, something that feels achievable yet still exciting. It could be an unexpected opportunity, a small sum of money, a specific item. 2. Define the feeling. Close your eyes. Don't visualize the process of getting it. Instead, focus entirely on the feeling of having it already. What is the dominant emotion? Is it relief, joy, security, freedom, peace? Focus on that single feeling. 3. Assume the state. For 5 to 10 minutes before you fall asleep, and again for 5 to 10 minutes upon waking, inhabit that feeling. Feel it so intensely that for those moments, you are living from that assumption. Imagine you are already the person who possesses that desire, not hoping, not wishing, but simply being that person. 4. Live from the end. Throughout your day, whenever your mind drifts to worry or doubt, gently guide it back to that feeling. Ask yourself, how would the person who has feel and act right now? And then embody that. This is not about forcing action, it's about maintaining the internal state. By diligently applying this simple shift, you will experience your first undeniable manifestation within 7 days. It might be a specific small desire, an unexpected opportunity, or a synchronicity so profound it cannot be denied. Or you will gain a clear diagnosis of the exact feeling state blocking your desired reality, giving you the precise leverage you need to shift it. This is not a promise, it is a law. You see now why more effort or longer visualization sessions do not create better results. They often reinforce lack. It was never about the quantity of your actions, but the quality of your internal state. You now understand why you cannot manifest by trying to make something happen. You must assume it is already done. The command is in the assumption, not the struggle. And finally, you know that external conditions have zero power over your manifestation once the internal state is truly achieved. The outer simply mirrors the inner. We have revealed today why a simple feeling is 1000x more powerful than complex rituals and visualizations, because feeling is the language of the subconscious, the true creative power. You now understand what Abdullah did to force me to finally understand this one thing. After years of failure, he stripped away my intellectualizations and forced me to simply feel the truth of my already accomplished desire. And you now possess the exact mental trigger that instantly shifts you into the state of the wish fulfilled. It is the conscious decision to feel your desire as an immediate, natural fact, right now, in the eternal present. The path is clear. Will you return to the endless, frustrating cycle of effort without results, perpetually chasing a shadow? Or will you choose to make the subtle, profound internal shift, to be the man who already possesses his desires and witness your world transform before your very eyes? The choice, as always, is yours. This truth is too vital to hear just once. Play this again. Return to this daily until these words become your very foundation, until the feeling of the wish fulfilled becomes your natural state of being. Your liberation awaits.